Good morning. Please welcome Zach Jones.
Parents. They can be hard to live with, but even harder to live without. Our parents do many things for us. When we are young, they bathe us, feed us, keep us safe from harm. They enroll us in school, take us to sports, and surrender countless weekends to entertain us. Parents are monumental pillars in our lives and help shape us into the young man we are and we will become. So today, I would like to share with you a couple of stories about the life lessons my parents have taught me. My first story starts with my dad. Before I start, I should tell you, my dad was a drill instructor in the Marines for many years. So this one day, I was in elementary school, and I was doing math homework, like addition, subtraction, figuring out how the clock works. And I forget what the assignment was, but I just couldn't get it. I just wasn't understanding what I was supposed to be doing. So I went to my dad for help, and he said sure, so we began. We were on a roll at first. Everything seemed so easy. Everything was coming to me, and then sooner or later, things began to get a little bit harder. I started struggling through a few questions, and I kind of checked out. My dad noticed this and told me, get on the ground, get in up push-up position. Yeah, fun, right? So my dad told me I was going to stay in this position until I got the answer right. So I remember to this day yelling, I can't, and every time he would counter with, yes, you can, just focus on the goal. And so after a while, through the pain and the fatigue, it was like my mind just spit out the right answer. Once I got up, it took me a little while, but I did get up. I was relieved. I got back to my chair and asked him, why did he do that? He told me that if you don't have a strong mind, you need to have a strong body. If you have both, you can't be stopped. He also told me that pain is temporary. Always focus on the other side of it. Don't get me wrong, at the time I was thinking, I hate him so much. He's such a jerk. Like, why would he make me do this? And I definitely had no idea what any of this had to do with my math homework. So, I guess it was okay. There are times when it seems easier to give in and allow ourselves to remain stuck in a bad situation. Our minds and our will are the only things that will move us forward. My dad's motto is, if you want something badly enough, then you will do it. He demonstrated this to me countless times. He's remodeled our entire kitchen by himself with a little help from me. After I totaled the Pontiac in an accident, he ordered parts and we literally put it back together. One day when my car broke down on the side of the road coming home from school, my first thought was, call a tow truck. His was, he looked at it and we bought a $100 part and it was back on the road that day. If I don't allow myself to remain stuck in a situation, I have everything I need to make almost anything happen. Now, for the second story, we're going to take a trip back to 2012, my 7th grade year. It was around this time of year, mid-February, early March. Carly Rae Jepsen's Call Me Maybe was playing on the radio, and it was cold, really, really cold. One Friday, after school, my mom told me, clean the bathroom, we're going to have company this weekend. I said, okay, and I did it. So I really didn't feel like doing it, so I half-assed it. And then, after, my mom confronted me, asking me things like, what happened to the bathroom? Why aren't all the dishes done? Why didn't you do what I asked? And my response was, I did almost all the things you asked me to do. Isn't that good enough? My mom didn't respond, and at the time, I was too naive to realize that this silence was a really bad sign for me. I learned it later on. It's coming up in the story. So the following Monday, I woke up at my normal time, I got dressed, and I was ready to start my day at 7 a.m., like usual. Everything was moving exactly the way it did the night before, or the days before. And then everything changed when we got to that Exxon station at the bottom of the Northern Parkway Hill. So me, again, being a naive 7th grader, I thought, okay, we're stopping for gas. We're driving in a car, cars need gas to go, okay. And then we drove past all the gas pumps. I thought this was a little unusual, so I kept quiet. And then my mom stopped in front of the self-serve vacuum cleaner. And I said, Mom, can we hurry up? I need to get to school. I don't want to be late. To that she said, right, and I brought you almost all the way to school, so get out. Yeah. So, she looked back at me again and said, "Get out." I said, "No." She said, "Get out," a little more aggressively this time. I said, "Mom, there's no way I'm getting out of this car." And then the next thing that happened was kind of like a scene from a horror movie. So I'll act it out for you guys. My mom is driving, both hands on the wheel. The car stopped, and she turns her head like this and looks at me like this and says, "Oh, really?" and unlocks all the doors. At this moment, I grabbed all my stuff and bolted out the car and started my trek up the hill. So for the next month, my mom made me walk this hill. Rain, sleet, shine, or snow, I was walking the hill, no matter what. And then one day, it just stopped. One day, she just drove me up to the top of the hill. I later found out that the reason she drove me to the top of the hill was because she heard me getting my stuff ready and was like, okay, he finally understands it. He knows what almost means now. So I asked her a few days after that, like, why she decided to pick that punishment. And she said, "That wasn't a punishment. That was discipline. I made you do this because almost doesn't count when somebody's counting on you." That night that I didn't do all of my chores, I let my mom down. She was counting on me to do what I said I would do, but I didn't. In some way, shape, or form in our lives, someone will always be counting on us. And at that time, there's no time for almost, only time for all. That means doing whatever you need to do to make sure that person that is counting on you gets what they get. I also learned that just because somebody doesn't approach you when you're messing up doesn't mean that they don't see it and that there won't be consequences later. So, Mom, Dad, Gilman faculty, staff, and fellow students, these are two of many life lessons my parents have taught me over the years. At first, I didn't understand why my parents taught me lessons like this, but as I grew older, the reasons became clearer and clearer. One reason is because my parents realized early on that it was better for me to see why something was the way it was instead of just hearing it. The other reason is they wanted me to become accountable. As a man one day, if I'm lucky enough, I will have a spouse and children. These lessons, while taught early, very early, I feel, they have helped me and will continue to help me be an accountable man in society today. Anne Frank once said, "Parents can only give good advice or put them on the right paths, but final forming of the person's character lies within their own hands." Our parents have put us on the right paths. They have given us their best advice. They have put in all the grunt work, and now it's up to us to expand upon our life lessons that they've taught us. I try and honor my life lessons every day just by being who I am and saying I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I will likely parent my children the same way, with discipline rather than punishment. Even though I didn't always immediately understand my parents' methods or like them, I realize now that they were always to build me up, never to tear me down. They made me feel like I was capable even when I wasn't performing. They let me know that all people are flawed and make mistakes, but we're all works in progress. As long as we are still working and learning, we will always get better. Thank you.